discomfort, entirely up to you. If you need to stop and have a little stretch, stop and stretch, stop and rest. If you can keep going for as long as you can. Usual prop, the ball and the band. If I don't have a ball and a band, I can use a cushion, rolled up towel, and then a strap, a belt, anything instead of the ball, instead of the band. So if I'm seated, just trying to find that position that allows the rib cage to lift away from the belly. So I don't want to compress the belly and compress the diaphragm, the breathing muscle. I want to try and create space. So I'm going to try and sit as tall as possible to allow as much space as possible for the diaphragm to be able to move. If I'm laying down, I'm just going to relax completely down onto the mat. The head is resting on the mat, the shoulders are down, the legs can be straight or bent. And then focus on that breath and notice where the breath is at the moment to begin with. If I feel that the breath is up here at the top of the chest, so I can feel that is the top of the chest that is rising and falling. See if I can try and calm down, relaxing through the neck, relaxing through the collarbones, the top of the body, the top of the chest, encouraging the breath to drop down into the belly, feeling the belly expanding with the inhalation and relaxing with the exhalation. So it's trying to calm the breath and calm the nervous system. As I feel the breath is a little bit more settled, is a little bit more relaxed, running a quick scan over the body. So if I'm seated, notice the pressure between the seat bones, notice the position of the back, the arms, the shoulders, the head, the legs. If I'm laying down, feeling the pressure, comparing the pressure between the right and the left shoulder, the right and the left hip, the position of the legs, the position of the arms and the head. I'm not trying to change anything, just noticing where everything is and how I feel to begin with. Is there any discomfort? Is there any pain, any niggle anywhere within the body? As I feel a little bit more settled, then I'm going to start to focusing on the shoulder joint. One arm at a time, I'm going to start raising the right arm up to the front. I'm going to take it up, take it back as far as I can if I'm lying down, and then I'm just going to ease the arm back. Same thing with the left. I'm going to raise the arm, drop the shoulder, trying to keep the neck nice and loose, and then returning the arm back into the starting position. So nice, easy movement. See if you can notice, if you're seated, make sure that as the arm is coming up, the head, the chin is not suddenly poking forward. So see if I can keep the head on top of the shoulders, making sure that as the arm is lifting, there is no tension into the neck. So the neck feels free, feels easy to move. So it doesn't matter if I can't lift the arm all the way up and the movement has to be a little bit shorter, but making sure that it's not creating tension up there. If you're lying down, the arm should be feeling a lot easier than for his seating as I'm working with gravity. So I'm just going to follow the movement, making sure that I'm not forcing it. So I don't want to feel pain in the shoulder. So little reach, big reach, it doesn't matter. 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, and then staying with the shoulder joint, I'm going to go into a little external rotation. I'm going to bend the elbows, I'm going to tuck the elbows into the side of the body. Squeezing the elbows into the side and then reaching them down and towards the hips. I'm going to turn the palms to face towards me. Take a deep breath in, and then as I breathe out, I'm going to start rotating the arms out. Rotating them back and then rotating them out again. Now the tendency is to wanting to pull the arms away from the body. Try not to let that happen. So see if I can maintain the arms close to the body and just trying to turn them out into the shoulder socket. If you're seated, the tendency is to retract the shoulder instead of rotate the arms. So the tendency is to kind of like swing the arms forward and back. So if you can be aware of the arm turning into the shoulder socket and then turning back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back, giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll. So I've got a little external rotation into the shoulder, into the arm. This time I'm going to go back into the raise, but I'm going to go into a lateral raise. So turning the palms to face out, to forward or out, I'm going to scoop them round the side and then bring them up and towards the head. Then taking them back, and then I'm going to try again. Changing the angle, allowing the arms to come slightly forward. If I feel that the shoulder doesn't feel great, the movement feels a bit stiff on the shoulder, a bit tight. And then as the arms go round into the circle, see if you can be aware of the shoulders widening and dropping away from the head. So see if I can keep a nice long relaxed neck, raising and lowering the arms. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, just a little bit more movement through the arm. I'm going to see if I can start and get into the all possible direction with the arm. So think of one arm at a time. I'm going to start raising the right arm up to the front. I'm going to take it out to the side. I'm going to circle it back to the front, and then I'm going to reverse the direction. So I'm going to take it around the side, bring it back into the circle, and then changing the direction again. Now, if you're seated, see if you can use the space as much as possible. So I'm going to take advantage of the fact that there is nothing behind me and encourage also a little rotation through the body. So I'm going to follow the arm around, making sure that, again, I'm not forcing the movement. So it could be a little circle, a shallow circle. It could be a big one. It doesn't really matter. If I'm lying down, think of rolling gently over the mat. So I'm going to roll onto the side to open up the movement a little bit more as the arm crosses over the body, and then come back. 3, 2, last time, and releasing back. Relaxing the arm, relaxing the shoulder. I'm going to try the same thing with the left side. So raising the left arm up to the front. I'm going to take it around the side, bring it across, come back to the front, and then reverse the circle going around the other way. So I'm working one side at a time. So if one shoulder feels different from the other, it doesn't matter. The movement will be just as big or small on this side as it feels comfortable for this shoulder, as it feels comfortable for this arm. If I'm seated, see if I can use all of the space available, encouraging a little rotation, following the arm around. 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back. Relaxing through the shoulders, relaxing through the arms. Just a little bit more movement into the shoulder joint, some movement into the back. I'm going to focus on the hips, focus on the legs. First thing, I want to get the hip flexor going. I want to get it to switch on. So I'm going to set the ball between the right thigh and the right hand, so or both hands, whichever it's easy. If you're seated, you don't really need the ball. So I can put my hand directly on the leg as I'm quite close to the leg. If you're lying down, because the leg is further away, it's better to use the ball so that I don't have to strain the shoulder and strain the neck. I'm going to put little pressure into the ball down with the hand. And at the same time, I want a little pressure with the leg up into the ball. So I'm going to push down with the hand to try to pull up with the right leg and then ease the pressure. Push down with the hand, pull up with the leg, and then ease the pressure. So see if you can think of the front of the hip clamping up. So I can feel the hip flexor. I can feel a little tension into the front of the belly as the leg is trying to lift away from the ground. Whether it lifts off the floor or it doesn't matter. Just to see if you can be aware of that tension into the front of the hip. So I can feel the hip flexor biting. I can feel it working. And then easing the pressure. So whether I'm seated or whether I'm lying down, to see if I can feel the hip working at the front. Nice tension at the front of the belly to help me stabilize the hips. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. I'm going to try exactly the same thing on the left side. So I'm going to place the ball between the hand and the left leg. With the hand, I'm going to push down. With the leg, I'm going to push up into the ball. Then ease the pressure and then press again. The same as on the other side. I want to feel the front of the hip. And then I can also feel the front of the belly working to help me stabilize that pressure, to help me stabilize that lift. 9, 8, 7, making sure that the shoulder's still down and away from your head, down and away from your ears. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Relaxing the hip, but releasing the leg. A little bit more connection at the front. I want to try create a little bit more connection on the inside. So I'm going to place the ball, the cushion between the knees this time, and then shuffling the feet nice and close together, as close as I can get them. I'm going to start pressing into the ball. So I'm going to squeeze the ball between the knees, and then I'm going to ease that pressure. Same as usual, as you're squeezing the ball, see if you can look at the knees, making sure that the right and the left are moving the same amount, so it doesn't look as if one is pressing and then the other one is kind of like flipping out or keeping the same position. So see if I can create a nice tension between the two legs on the inside of the legs. If I feel that one leg doesn't seem to be able to keep up, then I'm going to use my hand to guide it. So I'm just giving it a little push. See if I can tell the leg, direct that leg, tell it where to go. Tell it where to go. If you're lying down, the tendency as I press into the ball, if the inner thighs are not working well, is to use the bum. So to squeeze with the glutes. Think of the hips, or think of the bum staying relaxed. It's just the legs. It's just the inner thighs working. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then easing back, relaxing through the leg or releasing through the hip. And then I'm going to keep the ball between the knees, but I'm going to change the position of the legs. Instead of keeping the feet nice and close together, this time I'm going to shuffle them out. Think of the feet as a little bit wider than the hips. The ball is still between the knees. Because of the position of the feet, the legs are slightly internally rotated. So as I press into the ball, think of the legs are turning in and squeezing together. Then ease back. And then again, little turn and then squeeze them together. Same as usual, think of a tension on a scale 1 to 10, something around 6. So it's not too heavy. It's not too hard. Just be aware of the ball. If the tension between the right and the left side is not even, the ball will tend to kind of like roll. See if you can slow down the movement and then creating an even tension where the ball doesn't start rolling side to side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then easing back. Easing the tension from the ball, relaxing the hip, relaxing the inner thigh. And now working in reverse. I want the side of the leg, I want the side of the hip to activate. So I'm going to switch the ball for the band. I'm going to shuffle the feet a little bit closer together. And then I'm going to tie the band or the strap around the knees. If the band is an elastic one, I'm going to tie it quite kind of like tight around the knees, as I know that the band has got give, so it's elastic, so I can move. If the band is not elastic, so it's a strap or a belt, tie it a little bit looser so that I've got space inside the loop. I can move my legs inside the loop to create that tension. Then, same as I did for the ball, both legs together, I'm going to start pushing out into the band. Then ease back and then pushing again. Exactly the same as I did in reverse with the ball. Watch the legs and how much the legs open out. See if I can create an even pressure right and left side. If I can't, I'm going to use the hand to help me guide the leg or both legs if I feel the both are struggling. And then easing back. So I can feel a little bit more tension into the side of the hip, into the side of the bum. I'm trying to control the movement as I push out into the band and then as I release the pressure on the way back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back, relaxing into the legs, releasing into the hips. I'm going to undo the band, pushing the band to the side, and then focusing on the back of the leg more. I'm going to bend at the knees to bring the feet a little bit closer to the chair. If you're seated, if you're laying down, just a comfortable distance between the feet and the hips. And then think of pushing one foot harder through the floor. So I'm going to push my right foot harder through the floor. ease the pressure, push down on the left, ease the pressure, push down on the right, ease the pressure, push down on the left, ease the pressure. As I push down into the foot, as I push down into the leg, I should be able to feel the back of the leg activating a little bit more, the back of the bum activating a little bit more. So I'm trying to get the connection onto one side and then find the same connection on the other side. So I'm going to press with the right, press with the left, press with the right, press with the left. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Relaxing through the legs. Now see if you can do the same, but this time with both legs. I'm going to push down through both feet and ease the pressure. Push down through both feet and ease the pressure. As I push down, it should be almost like a natural reaction of the body if I'm seated to kind of like wanting to lean forward slightly, move forward slightly as I press into the feet, as I press into the legs. So as I start feeling the activation a little bit more into the back of the leg, then see if you can push so hard that you feel that the hips are actually able to pull away from the chair, pull away from the seat, whatever the seat is, just to check that the knees are not buckling. So I want the knees to stay in line with my feet. I might hold them with my hands, or I might just try to hold them with the hip, with the leg itself. If I'm lying down, as I push down through the feet, squeezing the hips up into bridge, and then I'm just going to release my way back. 2, making sure that the drive is coming from your hips, is driving from the back of the bum, not from your back. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then easing back, relaxing the hips, so releasing the legs. Now that I've got a little bit more connection through the different parts, I'm going to see if I can add a little bit more load. So this time without the resistance of the ball, so I don't have to push with my hand, I don't have to push with the leg. I just want the right leg to come up into a little lift, down, for the left leg to do the same, and then down. The right leg, left leg. Again, whether the foot lifts off the floor or not, it doesn't matter. But see if you can find, again, that connection between the front of the hip and the leg. See if I can close down the hip to pull up on the leg. Close down the hip to pull up on the leg. Just a little up and down from side to side. And then if I feel that the leg just doesn't respond, think of using, again, the hands. I'm just going to hook them around the back of the leg and then see if I can guide it up into that little lift. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Relaxing through the hips, so releasing through the legs. And then I'm going to focus on the inside and the outside of the leg. This time I'm going to just focus on the right side. So I'm going to repeat on the right. I'm going to push the right leg out to the right as far as it'll go. And then I'm going to squeeze it all the way back in. I'm going to open it out. And then I'm going to squeeze it back in again. So see if you can think of the inner thigh pulling the leg in and the side of the hip pulling the leg out. So this time I don't have the resistance of the band or the resistance of the ball. So again, the movement could be very small. I might need to assist in one direction. I might need to assist in both directions. It doesn't matter, just to see if you can be aware of the tension in the hip, the connection into the hip joint. If you're laying down, exactly the same, just to be aware of the pelvis, making sure that the pelvis doesn't start rolling with the leg. So the hips are staying nice and still. Pelvis is keeping nice and still as the leg is moving. Imagine a tennis ball balancing in the center of the belly. I don't want the tennis ball to roll onto the side. So keeping the hips steady, just the leg going. 2, squeeze it tight. Last one. Squeeze it tight and release. Relaxing through the hip, releasing into the leg. I'm going to try the same thing with the left side. So I'm going to reset my neutral, and then this time opening that left leg and then closing it back to center. I don't want the hips to roll in that direction. So I'm going to try and use the belly to help me support the hips, to support the pelvis. I don't want any pain in the hip or in the groin. So the movement is only as big or small as I feel that I can control it comfortably without causing pain. And then if I need a little bit of assistance to move, I'm just going to use the hand to guide the leg into position, taking it out and then squeezing it back in, taking it out and then squeeze it back in. 3, 2, last one. And then easing back, relaxing the hips, so releasing the leg. So it's a little bit more connection through the hip, same as we did with the shoulders. So see if I can now move into all possible directions. So see if I can get into circles. So if I'm seated and I know that the leg was a bit temperamental, so I was struggling to move it, I might want to use the band or the strap to assist with the movement. So I might put the strap around the back of the leg. If I'm laying down as well, if I feel that I need a little support, then I might want to use the band around the leg so that I can kind of like guide the leg around using the arms. And then imagine a pencil stuck to your kneecap. With that pencil, I want to draw circles in front of me. So if I'm seated, I want to draw the circles on the wall in front. If I'm laying down, I want to draw the circles on the ceiling above the hips. So I'm going to try and see if I can cover all possible direction. So going round the side, pressing down into the floor, squeezing the leg in, trying to lift it up, and then round into the circle again. It doesn't need to be a massive movement, just to see if you can be aware of the leg moving in the hip socket. Notice the difference in tension, whether I'm moving the leg up, down, right, or left. And then same as before, if I'm seated, the foot might stay on the floor. It might lift, just whatever feels easier. If you're lying down to draw the circle up on the ceiling, I have to pick up the leg. So if I feel that I'm struggling to hold the leg up, then I'm going to use my hands to help me, or again, the band behind the leg to help me. I'm going to reverse the circles going the other way. 10. So nice and smooth. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back. Relaxing the leg, relaxing the hip. I'm going to try exactly the same thing on the left side. So using the band behind the leg if I feel that I need a little support. And then I'm going to start guiding the leg into that circle. Finding that nice smooth movement, feeling the change in tension, depending on where the leg is moving within the circle, inner thigh, front of the hip, side of the hip, a little bit into the back of the hip, into the back of the leg. So going round and round. 3, 2, 1. Reversing the circle, going the other way. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and release. Relaxing through the hips, releasing through the legs, allowing the legs in a comfortable position. I'm going to relax into the hips and then focusing on the back. I'm going to start with a little flexion. So grabbing hold of the ball, mind the plug, making sure that it's not touching skin or it might scratch. And then I'm going to set the ball into the top of the chest, or the cushion into the top of the chest. I'm going to place both hands onto it, allow the elbows to drop down, and then imagine to be hugging the ball inside your rib cage. So I'm going to try and wrap my shoulders around the ball, and then I'm going to try and wrap my spine around the ball. Then I'm going to ease back, and then I'm going to try again. So see if you can feel the movement into your thoracic spine, into your upper back. I'm trying to ease some of the tension, some of the stiffness from the middle of the back. So I'm just going to wrap myself around and then release, wrap myself around and release. If you're lying down, you might want to keep one hand to the back of the head as you wrap yourself around the ball. The head lifts off the ground. So I want to keep the neck supported. Every so often I might change and use the other side. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. and then easing back, relaxing through the shoulders, releasing into the back. So hopefully I feel a little bit looser at the top. From flexion, I'm going to go into a little rotation. So pushing the ball to the side, raising the arms up in front of you. I'm going to keep the hands apart or clasp the hands together to create a little bit more stretch around the shoulder, behind the shoulder, into the arms. And then I'm going to start swinging the arms around, rolling from shoulder to shoulder, rotating from side to side, creating a little tension between the arms, pulling with one over the other to stretch around the shoulder, behind the shoulder. Just making sure that the movement is not causing pain. If you're seated, you've got a lot more space, so I'm not limited by the floor behind me. So see if I can really get that swing going, that rotation going, taking the arms as far around the back as I can, and then over to the other side. Making sure that the head is staying lifted, so at no point I find myself looking down at the floor. So see if I can try and keep the head lifted. I'm always looking up at the same height, at the same level. So the weight of the head is not going to pull me forward. It's not going to pull me into that rounded shoulder, into that hunched position. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and easing back, relaxing through the shoulders, releasing through the arms. And then from rotation, I'm going to go into a little lateral flexion. So straightening yourself up as much as you can if you're seated, allowing the arms to relax down the side. And then I'm just going to go for a little side to side movement. So think of a little, almost like a little pendulum with the upper body. I don't want to collapse to the side, so I don't want to create pinching or pressure into the back. I'm just going to keep it small, keep it easy, just immobilizing the spine. If you're laying down, same as you did with the ball, with the flexion, as I need to move side to side, I want to take the head with me. So I might use one hand to carry the head with me to the side and then switch over and then go the other way. So from side to side. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Giving the head a gentle roll, relaxing the shoulders, releasing the back. When you're ready, if you're laying down, rolling over onto your side, and in your own time, pushing yourself up into sitting. Finding a comfortable seated position that allows it to sit up as upright, as straight as you can, leaning onto something for support, leaning onto the arms or for support if you need to. And then once that you feel that you're there, think of opening up the front of the body. So same as usual, I'm just going to push the chest forward. I'm going to roll the shoulders back, drop them down. I'm going to keep pushing forward through the top of the chest, lifting the head up. I'm going to look forward. I'm going to look up, look back. And then I'm going to release. In reverse, I'm going to let the chin drop down to the chest, let the shoulders roll forward, the upper back round, the lower back if I can. I'm going to roll down as far down as I can. And then uncurling back up again, pushing the chest forward. Think of that nice extension through the upper back, lifting through the chest, lifting the head, looking up, looking back. And then releasing, coming forward, letting the chin drop down to the chest, the shoulders come forward, rolling your way down. Last time, uncurling your way back up, shoulders back, shoulders down, lifting your way up, looking forward, looking up, looking back. And then easing your way back to the front. One hand to the belly, one hand to the back. Take your bow